Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and in our last review we took a look at Druid, 4 Forge to the Barrens, and today we're going to take a look at Hunter. Again, we rate all cards on a 5-star basis, 5 stars being God tier auto-include card, star being unplayable trash, and we review in both standard and wild, so let's get right into it. Let's take a look at the Hunter card. So first we're starting off with Funscale Raptor, 1 mana 1/3 Beast Frenzy, shuffle a Funscale Raptor into your deck with permanent +2/+1, so effectively if this minion takes damage and doesn't die, it can go infinite because it can keep shuffling in, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, +2/+1 every single time, and well, that's pretty good. And you compare it to like an old card like Dire Mole, that was a 1 mana beast that Hunter quite enjoyed, ran back in the day, but there are some synergies kind of missing out with this card that you used to have, like Houndmaster no longer in standard. You don't have Master's Call. You do have Dire Frenzy though, which is coming into the game, so you can Dire Frenzy a bunch of these, they'll keep that stats and well, cycle pretty heavily. I think this card will see play. It's a 1 mana beast. It's fine as a 1/3 if you're playing a more value based Hunter deck, which it looks like you kind of have to. The aggro archetypes aren't going to work out very well. Funscale Raptor is a decent little addition to that, so I think it will see some play. I'll give it a 3 stars for standard, but in wild, where that strategy just doesn't really work at all, I'm gonna give it a 1. I just can't see it, even with like the Hunter quest and replaying this as a 1-drop over and over. That's just not gonna work out in wild. I'm not convinced, so I gotta give it a 1 in wild. Next, we have Wound Prey, 1 mana spell, deal 1 damage, summon a 1/1 hyena with Rush. We've seen this card before, well, way back in the day, I think at Old Gods, except the 1/1 didn't have Rush, and yeah, this card's pretty decent. It's a cheap little spell. It works with a lot of other cards we'll talk about, and even with like Lock and Load, that's in the core set now as well. It can activate that. I mean, it's deal 1, get a 1/1 Rush. We've seen with like Spring Paw or like the 1 mana 1/1 Rushes. They're good. They're solid. This is a flexible little nice card for Hunter. It'll absolutely see play in basically every Hunter deck because why not? And again, the aggression isn't really going to be there, so it doesn't really need to be that aggressive. But again, this can go face. There is a possibility of that, so I'm going to give it a 4 in standard, and in wild, I'll give it a 3. You might even run it in like a Reno Hunter. You never know. It might be decent enough there. Next, we have Coalcar Pack Runner, 2 mana 2/3. After you cast a spell, summon a 1/1 hyena with Rush. The hyenas are beasts, and well, we just looked at Wound Prey. Works well with that. All these like cheap spells are pretty good. Hell, if you just have the coin, you play Pack Runner, Coin, and Wound Prey, and you get 3 1/1s with Rush. That's pretty solid, and still have Scavenging Hyena. You can combo it with that, get it, you know, buffed up, and it's just a solid card. It's a decent mid-range card. Not too offensive, nothing too crazy. I do see it seeing a bit of play. I'll give you a 3 in standard, but again, this type of strategy in wild, way too slow. I think there's better options, and it's not a beast, so you can't really play it in like a Master's Call deck there. So I'll give it a 2 for wild. It's not quite good enough. We have Prospector's Caravan. It's one of the Caravan cards, 2 mana 1/3 at the start of your turn, not the end, so this has to survive until your next turn. Give all minions your hand +1/+1, so you're paying 2 mana for a really bad body that might hand buff your hand by a bit if it lives. It's awful. This is just garbage. It has to live to be good. It's very unlikely, and again, it just doesn't do anything immediate. Hand buff can work, but not this. This is awful. I'm giving it a 1 in standard, 1 in wild. A lot of these Caravan cards are really bad, and this is definitely one of them. We have Tame Beast, the ranked Hunter spell. 2 mana, it summons a 2/2 Beast with Rush. You upgrade it at 5 mana, you get a 4/4, you upgrade it to 10 mana, you get a 6/6, really good with like Coalcar Pack Runner, good with like Lock and Load, any of the spell stuff. And the first version, the 2 mana 2/2 Rush isn't great, but everything after that's fantastic. The 4/4, 6/6 are awesome, really good, very flexible. They're beasts. They have good synergies with a lot of other cards. This is a very solid card. It's very solid, very flexible. You probably just don't want to play it until you're at 5 mana, but even if you have to, you're in a pinch, it can do some good work. I'm going to give this a 4 in standard, and I'll give it a 2 in wild. Probably not good enough to pick, like go into a Reno Hunter there or a Spell Hunter. It's probably not enough, but it's close. It's really close. Next, we have Pack Cotto, 3 mana 3/3 Beast, Battle Cry, discover a beast, secret, a weapon. You'll be able to pick 1 card from each of those options. So you'll see 1 beast, 1 secret, 1 weapon. And when you have a card like Ringling's Rifle, which is incredibly powerful and not that many weapons to pick from, that might come up pretty often, or you might get Sphere Sapience and feel bad, but very flexible card. Secrets can be good, beasts can be pretty solid, especially with a much more refined beast pool now that a lot of the bad beasts have rotated. And then a weapon, like I said, weapon can be really solid. It's just a good value card. It's a beast you can play on curve, just good. It's just really good. I'm gonna give it a 3 in standard. It will see some play. It's solid. And in wild, probably not good enough. I'll give it a 2, but again, it's like kind of fringe. You might run it in a Reno Hunter, but it just, Hunter sucks so much in wild. It's got to be something really good to elevate Hunter to be like playable. But you know, with Starving Buzzard coming along, maybe Pat Cotto is good enough now. Who knows? Next we have Tavish Stormpike, 3-mana 2/5 legendary minion. After a friendly beast attacks, summon a beast from your deck that costs 1 less. So you play, look at the rank spell, the 2-mana spell, you play that with this and you automatically can cheat out the 1-drop that can shuffle back in your deck. If it's upgraded, you get the 4 version. That's a 4-mana card. You can cheat out some 3-mana beasts or whatever. When I first saw this card, I'm like, it's too clunky to get this big chain of stuff going off, but I don't think you really need to do that. If it just cheats out like 1 minion, that's pretty good. You're gonna get a beast. The beasts are pretty good. It thins your deck a bit. It's a bit of cycle, and if it can snowball, it can keep snowballing there. It's really good with Russian charge. It's just a solid minion. Plus, it's a 5 health minion on turn 3. That is not the easiest thing in the world to remove. I'm gonna give this a 4. I think it's solid. These Hunter decks are very beast-centric. Getting a Bear Shark out of your deck, getting something solid can just be really powerful, and I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to run this in your beast deck, even if it only cheats out 1 beast. I also have True Aim Crescent, which is just really solid. You can make any beast attack with that. It doesn't really matter. So there's a lot of ways to make Stormpike work. And yeah, again, in wild, there's a lot of really crazy combos. You have Houndmaster Shaw, you have Tundra Rhino. There is a lot of implications for this card. It's going to be way too slow, too clunky, but it's going to be really sweet. So I'll give it a 3 for wild. It'll see some play in those kind of meme combo decks, but I don't think it'll be a real meta juggernaut in any regard. And next we have Piercing Shot, deals 6 damage to a minion, and then the excess damage hits the enemy hero. Very reminiscent of like explosive runes for mage. That's secret. And I was thinking originally you could play like double Moarg and spell damage, and that would do like 12, 24, or just some like basically an OTK. But apparently it's going to work like Rolling Fireball, where the excess just basically, it doesn't work that way, that you won't be able to do like a humongous amount of damage. And if that is the case, then the card for that purpose this isn't great, but overall that probably wouldn't work in a Hunter deck. There's not really the cycle or sustain to get there, but it would have been cool. But as its standalone card, 4 mana, it's like a fireball, but it can only hit a minion and the rest goes face. That's just really good. It's really good removal. It pushes some damage. It's just a very solid card. I'm gonna give this a 4 in standard and a 3 in wild. I think a Reno Hunter deck, I would have no problem running this. It kills almost everything on turn 4 outside of, well, you know, Giants from Dark Lair. But other than that, it's just a really, really cool, really good card. Feels very Hunter. I love the flavor. Next, we have Warsong Wrangler, 4-mana 3/4 minion Battlecry. Discover a beast in your deck, so you add it to your hand, and then you give all copies of it +2, +1 wherever they are. So you get an immediate hand buff. You get an immediate hand buff on the beasts, and then you also buff them in your deck. Anything with Rush, any of those effects, it's really good immediately. Just like on a Funscale Raptor, you're already accelerating the buff plan on that even more. It's just a good on-curve play, creates a large beast, and I can't see this being particularly bad. It's basically drawing a card from your deck, and Hunter needs all the drawn value they can get since they've lost all of their reach, and I think it'll see some play. I'm going to give it a 3 in standard, and in wild, Master's Call stuff is just too good with beasts, and you already have Dire Frenzy and all that stuff. I don't see it slotting in, but I'll give it a 2 for wild. Not exactly terrible. And lastly, we have Barrens Cotobain, 5-mana 3/5 legendary minion. You draw 1, 2, and 3 cost spells, so you can draw Tracking, Lock and Load. You can get the upgrade spell. You can get a Deadly Shot or Petting Zoo, but you'll know there's no kill command, no Unleash the Hounds, no Animal Companion. There's a lot less good spells to get, but obviously this card will get better as time goes along. And I believe Mancrick, they're changing like the card that you shuffle into your deck to be 3 mana. I could be wrong on that, but you might be able to cheat Mancrick's thing out if that changes. But even without that, the card's just really solid. It's 5-mana, draw 3. Hunter needs this. It can work really well with secrets, as I mentioned, with like Petting Zoo, draw a secret for 2. Really solid card. I'm going to give this a 4 for Hunter. It's going to see a lot of play. And in wild as well, I'm going to give this like a 4. Reno Hunter lacks draw, and this is just a great way to tutor out just a bunch of cards. It's just really solid, really sweet, and that's it. That's all the Hunter cards. Very non-aggressive. Hunter lost so much of its burn, its reach, its aggression. It's very much about this value generation or value beast stuff going on. Will that be good enough to make Hunter good in standard? I'm not really convinced. It looks pretty bleak, but I like the style of the deck. I think it's really cool. A lot of interesting stuff. It's just that Hunter hero power really kind of pigeonholes Hunter to be aggressive, and these cards don't really want to do that. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. I hope these cards work out because I think it'll be a lot of fun to play a lot of cool different beasts. So let me know in the comments below if you agree, disagree. Enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day. Stay salty, my friends.